6 years into our marriage, my wife, who had spent our entire time together as a devout, almost monastic woman, suddenly slapped me across the face. She was convinced I had hired someone to cause the car accident that had just injured the love of her life and his son. In that moment, something inside me snapped. I was done being patient. I was ready to burn it all to the ground and take everyone down with me. Later, she would desperately try to fix things, but it was far too late for that. Slap! I was trying to soothe my frayed nerves with my violin when Isabella stormed in. She grabbed my shoulder from behind, spun me around, and slapped me hard across the face. My left ear rang, and a searing pain spread across my cheek. The rage I'd been suppressing for over 20 years finally boiled over. As soon as I steadied myself, I stared at her with murder in my eyes. That car crash this morning with Ethan and Cody. Was that you? Did you hire someone? Didn't I warn you not to touch them? Ethan. He was the apple of her eye, the one that got away. And Cody was his son. Anytime the slightest thing happened to them, if they so much as stubbed a toe, it was my fault. She'd leap to the conclusion that I was behind it without a second thought. Staring at her furious, accusatory face, I clenched my jaw. Without a word, I swung the violin in my hand straight at her head. I wasn't holding back. I meant to crack her skull open. Thud. Unfortunately, I was holding the instrument in my left hand, so the blow wasn't strong enough to actually kill her. Leo Dalton, are you insane? Staggering back 2 steps from the unexpected counterattack, Isabella steadied herself. Her head was spinning, but shock quickly turned back to rage as she shrieked at me. I shot back. In my entire life, no one has ever laid a hand on me. You touch me again, I dare you. I will end you, you piece of trash. Isabella stared at me in stunned disbelief. The meek, patient husband who always swallowed his pride and compromised for peace was actually baring his fangs? I told you Ethan would never threaten your position as Mr. Dalton, didn't I? So why did you have to go after them? Ha! I let out a bitter, scornful laugh. Isabella, do you think you're the only woman in the world? Some kind of priceless trophy? You think this Mr. Dalton title is something special? You really think I give a damn about it? My sharp ridicule left her speechless. For a moment, she couldn't find a single word in rebuttal. Ethan may treasure a piece of garbage like you, but I sure don't. He and his son are nothing but ants to me, not even worth my time. If I really wanted them dead, it would have been a single, fatal blow. I never would have let them prance around in front of me, showing off time and time again. Do you understand? If you understand, then get out. This is my house, and you are not welcome here. Isabella glared at me. Her eyes filled with shock as she ground out each word. Don't you dare play innocent with me. Others might not know you, but I do. You'll endure anything for money and power, and you're capable of anything. I told you, Ethan and Cody are my line in the sand. Don't push your luck. Me? Playing innocent? I'm not the one who's been putting on an act. All day with your prayer beads and vegetarian meals. Acting so profound and devoted, but you're just a hypocrite to the core. Your mother had to share her husband with his mistress, even letting his illegitimate kids into the house. Is that the life you want too? Who do you think you are? You're more full of crap than a landfill. I knew exactly where to twist the knife. Just as I expected, Isabella's face flushed with shame and anger. She was utterly silenced, which meant she still had some sense of decency, some awareness that her actions were disgraceful. You say I'm ruthless for personal gain? Do you think I don't know what you and Ethan have been up to? All your dirty little secrets? You think you're so much nobler than me? You pretend to be some kind of saint all day, but even God would be disgusted by a person like you. You want a divorce? She blurted out, thinking it was a threat. I scoffed. Yes, the sooner the better. Your precious Ethan is clearly getting impatient, always pulling these little stunts to frame me. If he's not tired of it, I'm tired for him. I will get to the bottom of this. And if it really was you, I won't let you get away with it. After spitting out her angry warning, Isabella stormed out, visibly furious. The housekeeper, who had been standing nearby with a tray of tea, didn't dare say a word. She just set the tea down and quickly left the living room. I looked down at the broken violin in my hand. It was just like my life, shattered and in pieces. It was time for a major overhaul. Before our arranged marriage, I knew Isabella had a great love, her white moonlight, but he was in a vegetative state, having been in a coma for over 2 years. Ever since his car accident, she had become a devout vegetarian, prayer beads always in hand, praying for his recovery. She had even remained celibate for him. But as the eldest daughter of the Reed family, she couldn't spend her life waiting for a man who was practically dead. Not unless she was willing to give up her inheritance and all the resources her family provided. Even if she wanted to, her family, especially her mother, would never allow it. Her mother would sooner have the man killed than let her daughter throw away the family fortune. So, due to a variety of pressures, she chose a marriage alliance with the Dalton family. The reason was laughable. She said my eyes reminded her of her one true love, Ethan, and I had my own reasons for being unable to refuse. I was the eldest grandson of the Dalton family, but I was nothing more than a pawn, a tool for a strategic marriage to expand the family's power. I was an afterthought, a stepping stone, never truly valued. I had a full brother and sister, while the rest of the grandchildren were my father's illegitimate children or my uncles. 5 years ago, my mother was in a car accident that left her in a coma. Less than 6 months later, my father's young male lover swaggered into our home and became the new master of the main house. If I refused the marriage, life would become unbearable for my siblings, and even my mother's medical care wouldn't be guaranteed. I had no choice but to swallow my pride and agree. Besides, Isabella wasn't a bad match in any other respect. Aside from her heart belonging to someone else, there was nothing I couldn't accept. What I never expected, however, was that 3 years into our marriage, Ethan woke up. His recovery instantly shattered the polite, distant peace of our marriage, turning it into a 3-person melodrama. Things got worse when she found out she couldn't have children, right as Ethan reappeared with Cody, the son he'd had with his ex-girlfriend, Sharon. Isabella poured all her guilt and maternal affection onto that boy. Ethan and Cody started showing up at all sorts of Reed family functions, with Ethan being introduced as Ms. Reed's companion. He provoked me time and again, flaunting their relationship in my face, until I became a laughingstock with no dignity left, forced to endure it all. It's not that I didn't think about divorce. The timing just wasn't right. I wasn't going to let the people who humiliated me off that easily. Ring, ring, ring. The sudden ringing of my phone pulled me from my dark thoughts. I turned and picked it up. It was the caregiver from the hospital. I answered without hesitation. Hello, Lisa? What's wrong? Leo, it's your mother. Something's happened. You need to get to the hospital quickly. The words struck me like lightning. A wave of panic washed over me. I hung up, frantically gathered my things, and raced out the door, speeding toward the hospital. When I arrived, the light outside the emergency room was still on. The doctors were still working on her. Lisa just told me that my mother's breathing had suddenly stopped, and that my father's new lover had been there earlier, saying some awful things. I knew he had to be involved. Suddenly, the light above the ER door went out. A doctor emerged, pulling off his mask. We did everything we could. I'm so sorry for your loss. It's time to make the arrangements. My mind went blank. The world seemed to dissolve, and my body went limp like a snapped string. I staggered, about to collapse, but Lisa and the doctor caught me just in time, preventing me from hitting the floor. A single thought echoed in my head. My mother is gone. Lisa helped me into a chair, her voice gentle. You have to stay strong. Your mother would want you to be okay. She must have seen this many times before. She asked, should we call anyone else? Your brother and sister will want to see her one last time, won't they? I had been in such a rush that I hadn't thought to call anyone. I'd assumed it would be another false alarm, like all the other times, that my mom would pull through. I never imagined she would just be gone. I took a few deep breaths, forcing myself to calm down, to pull myself together and deal with what was in front of me. My composure returned quickly. I decided to call the police and request an autopsy. I wasn't going to let a single one of those bastards get away with this. 2 days later, the autopsy was complete. My mother was transferred to the funeral home. I called my brother and sister to come help with the arrangements. I didn't notify anyone else from the Dalton or Reed families. No one else would care. My mother was despised and mistreated in life. I wouldn't let her be bothered by them in death. But at the funeral, the Daltons showed up anyway. The moment I saw the smug look on my father's lover's face, the smirk he couldn't suppress as he feigned respect, a firestorm of rage erupted inside me. Couldn't hold it back. In front of everyone, I lunged forward and kicked him hard, sending him flying. The crowd gasped in shock, and chaos erupted. "Ah, Leo Dalton, have you lost your mind?" After his lover cried out from the fall, my father, Frank Dalton, roared at me, looking like he wanted to tear me apart. I stared back at him, my voice ice cold and fearless. "My mother's car accident 5 years ago, that was his doing, and you were involved. Her sudden death this time? He arranged it, had her injected with something. Don't think I don't know. What nonsense are you spouting?" The guests started murmuring, their curiosity piqued. Frank shouted, trying to shut me down. My mother was the only thing holding me back. With her gone, I had nothing left to lose. A cold smile touched my lips. "Nonsense? Then what do you call his presence here?" I pointed at my father and his illegitimate daughter, Jasmine. "What is the meaning of your little family of 4 showing up today? Are you here to gloat or to provoke me?" In wealthy families, multiple partners and illegitimate children weren't uncommon. So Frank just snapped, "Have you made enough of a scene? Can't you show some decency? Do you have any idea where you are?" Of course I know where I am. This is my mother's funeral. And if I don't get justice for her, I don't deserve to be her son. I'm afraid she won't be able to rest in peace. My eyes scanned the guests and landed on Isabella, who was staring at me in utter astonishment. I ignored her and continued with a mocking laugh. "And let me tell you all another secret.
Her, I pointed af Jasmine.
Jasmine Dalton had a heart transplant, and that heart was cut out of a living person." "What? No way, is that true? That's monstrous." Slap. The room erupted in a frenzy of whispers. Before I could finish, Frank rushed at me, his hand raised to strike, but my brother, Ben, caught his arm. Ben twisted it and slapped him back across the face, warning, "You touch my brother again, I dare you. The two of you, you ungrateful brats. Are you trying to start a rebellion?" Frank's face turned beet red with fury. He looked like he was about to have a stroke. Ben was taller and stronger than him. In a real fight, Frank didn't stand a chance. "Take this cheap hustler and the bastard kid he spawned and get out. Don't defile my mother's funeral. Otherwise, I have no problem making sure you leave here horizontally." As Ben spoke, he cracked his knuckles, his threat hanging heavy in the air. Frank had wanted to put on a show of family harmony, but my brother and I weren't playing along. "Frank, I'm hurt." His lover suddenly whimpered, looking frail. "My ankle hurts, my back. Please, take me to the hospital." Amidst all the pointing and whispering, Frank decided to cut his losses. He helped the man up and they made a swift exit, afraid that staying any longer would only lead to more of their dirty laundry being aired. Jasmine glared at us with dark eyes before turning to follow them, too ashamed to stay. "Why didn't you call me?" After the chaos subsided and some order was restored, Isabella came to my side, her fingers nervously twisting her prayer beads. "You're just a daughter-in-law in name only, and soon you won't even be that." "There was no need," I replied coolly, my eyes fixed on my mother's portrait. Isabella was so angry she was speechless, staring at me with clenched teeth. But in front of everyone, she held her tongue. The funeral soon concluded, and my mother was taken to the crematorium. While we waited for the ashes, a video of the fight at the funeral went viral. I had my people release it. I wanted the Dalton family name dragged through the mud. They deserved it. Along with the video, I released my mother's autopsy report, the original car accident report, and evidence of my father's lover hiring people to harm her. I even included the dark truth behind how Jasmine got her new heart. While the story was hot, I laid it all out for the public to judge, ensuring the Dalton name would be ruined and the family socially crucified. I own a digital tech company that I've been building quietly for years. By the time Frank Dalton realized what was happening and tried to do damage control, it was too late. The story had exploded online and was completely out of his control. Leo, does this mean we don't have a home anymore? My sister, Chloe, asked, her face full of sorrow. I looked away from my phone screen and said with forced confidence, "No. As long as I'm here, you'll always have a home. Now that Mom's gone, are you going to get a divorce?" "Yes," I said without hesitation. "After how Ethan treated you, can you really let that go?" "No. No one is getting off easy. You're not going to get yourself dragged down with them, are you?" Chloe asked, her voice filled with worry. "Don't worry. I know what I'm doing." "Okay, good," she said, and my firm answer seemed to put her at ease. After we collected the ashes, the three of us went back to my villa. We would choose an auspicious day to lay her to rest. As soon as we walked in the door, the housekeeper told us that Isabella and her mother were here. After she'd stormed out of the funeral home, I couldn't imagine what else they could possibly have to say. "How can you bring that into the house? It's such bad luck. You people have no sense. You could have just left it at the funeral home." Seeing my brother holding the urn and my sister holding the portrait, Isabella's mother complained with a frown, her face a mask of disgust. My face was a blank slate. "This is my house," I said bluntly. "I could turn this entire place into a mausoleum, and it would still be none of your business." Used to my usual meek demeanor, her mother flared up at my retort. "What kind of attitude is that? I'm giving you a friendly warning. If you're not going to be grateful, you don't have to be rude." Isabella was lounging on the sofa, legs crossed, as indifferent as ever. She just stared at me, twisting her prayer beads, saying nothing. "If you have something to say, say it. If not, please leave. I'm in no mood to entertain guests." I gave them a cold dismissal. Her mother grew even angrier. "Your mother passes away, you hold a funeral, and you don't notify the Reed family beforehand? Were you trying to embarrass us? To make us a laughingstock? The Reed family has plenty of embarrassing secrets, this is just one more. Besides, your daughter and I will be divorced soon. There's no need for us to be involved anymore." I ignored them and began clearing a space on the TV stand, telling my brother to place the urn there. "What did you say? You want a divorce?" her mother asked, her face a picture of disbelief. I turned and sat down, looking directly at Isabella. "Let's find some time to draw up the papers and get this divorce finalized. Your mother just passed away. I understand you're not in a good state of mind. You don't have to use divorce as an outlet. This is a bell you can't unring," Isabella said, her voice calm but laced with a warning. Yes, there's no need to talk about divorce so rashly," her mother chimed in eagerly. For her, business interests were all that mattered. "My mind is made up. This is a notification, not a game of hard to get, and it's not a tantrum. If you don't agree, I'll sue for divorce. And when that happens, don't blame me for being ruthless." My tone was firm, leaving no room for negotiation. "Is this because of Ethan and Cody?" Isabella asked, her expression as detached as ever, as if she had everything under control. "I told you they won't affect your position." "Ha!" I scoffed. "Is that so? I seem to recall the face you made a few days ago when you stormed in here and slapped me." "What? That bastard? You dared to hit my brother?" Ben, who had been quietly drinking water, shot to his feet, ready to fight. Chloe quickly pulled him back. "And you call yourself a fucking Buddhist? What kind of Buddhist slaps her own husband? How dare you speak like that? Such foul language," Isabella's mother scolded. This only made Ben angrier. "My language is foul? Why don't you teach your daughter some manners? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You call her a human being? Parading her lover and his bastard son around town without getting a divorce? What more does she want? Does she think my brother is a pushover? That he deserves to just shut up and take it? A person like her, fake, selfish, has the gall to walk around with prayer beads, pretending to be some kind of saint. It's pathetic. Hitting a nerve, Isabella shot up, her voice sharp with fury. I never hid Ethan's existence from you. Not from the very beginning. What are you throwing a fit about now? You didn't hide him, no. But I never imagined you had so little integrity that you'd end up just like your mother. The two things I hate most in this world are mistresses and illegitimate children, especially when they're flaunted in front of the legal spouse. I'm not throwing a fit. My mother is gone. I have no reason to put up with it anymore. Is that clear? My words were merciless, each one a dagger to her pride. Isabella stood up abruptly, her jaw tight. You want a divorce? In your dreams. The only way you're leaving this marriage is in a coffin. With that, she walked around the coffee table and left, refusing to stay a moment longer. Just like always, when she couldn't win an argument, she ran. She knew she was wrong but would never change, always doing whatever she wanted. Even with all her praying and chanting, she still wanted everything. She wanted the husband from a respectable family, and she wanted the doting lover. The sheer audacity of it was astounding. Her mother, her face pale, turned to me. So, those videos online, that was your doing? You're trying to destroy the Dalton family? I didn't want to answer. I just said coldly, that doesn't seem to have anything to do with you. You should probably worry about yourself. She seemed to understand something. She grabbed her purse, stood up, and left without another question. What is wrong with these people? They're all garbage.
Ben Greenberg.
All right, let's go eat, I said, exhausted. I was too hungry and weary to think about anything else. Shouldn't we light some incense first? Chloe reminded me. We were new to all of this, inexperienced and unsure of the customs. In the end, we set up offerings in the living room, paid our respects, and then had dinner before getting ready for bed, putting everything else out of our minds for the night. The next morning, the stock for the Dalton family's company, Viridian Group, plummeted, hitting its daily limit down. That afternoon, my father's lover and Frank Dalton were both arrested. The stories about them had completely blown up online, along with the dark truth behind Jasmine's heart transplant. The topic stayed at the top of the trending lists, enraging the public, fueling their resentment of the rich, and making them hate the so-called privileges of the wealthy. The consensus online was that anything less than the death penalty would be a miscarriage of justice. By evening, the main Dalton residents, unable to reach me, sent people to drag me back after I ignored their repeated calls. When I walked in, my grandfather, grandmother, uncle, and aunt were all there, arranged as if for an inquisition. I had a feeling I wouldn't be walking out of this house easily. Crash! My grandfather was the first to lash out, throwing his teacup at me. You bastard! He roared. What the hell do you think you're doing? What good does it do you to ruin the Dalton family's name and cost us a fortune? I sidestepped the cup easily. No good at all, I replied casually. But I will avenge my mother. Dragging a few of her enemies down with her doesn't seem too excessive. Does it? They all stared at me, shocked that the once meek Leo could be so extreme. My uncle spoke up. You want revenge? But did you have to make it so public? If the Dalton family falls, your life with the Reeds won't be easy either. You should take those videos down now. If it was your mother who was murdered, would you just let it go and sweep it under the rug? I retorted sharply. Their faces darkened, but no one had a comeback. As long as the Dalton family stands, I can't get my revenge. You'd all protect Frank and his lover, and Jasmine too. Your wealth and power are the knives you point at the weak. Just like the owner of that heart inside Jasmine, a young woman in her 20s, hit by a car on her way home from work, who then had her heart cut out of her while she was still alive, for no reason she'd ever know. Tell me, who do she and her family turn to for justice? Is that fair? My grandfather's face grew pale. He clutched his chest, looking like he couldn't bear to hear it. I went on, you reap what you sow. You two old fools failed to raise your children properly, and you indirectly caused my mother's death. It's only fair that you suffer the consequences. All I did was expose the truth and let society judge the wicked. What's wrong with that? The family rises and falls together. What did we do wrong? My aunt snapped, her own interests now clearly at stake. You really did nothing wrong? I said. my voice dripping with sarcasm. You and your mother tormented my mom endlessly. It was normal for you to forbid her, my siblings, and me from even eating at the main table. I leaned in with a playful, threatening tone. Oh, and by the way, I have some dirt on you, too. Be careful not to push me too far. I'd be happy to ruin your reputation and get you kicked out of high society. You've gone mad, haven't you? She stammered, suddenly panicked. My grandmother, who had always been sharp-tongued and cruel, stared at me as if I were already dead, her face a grim mask. I chuckled. Are you thinking about how much you want to kill me? Let me give you a piece of advice. If I die, what happens to the rest of you will be far, far worse. My grandmother's teeth clenched. I never realized we were raising an ungrateful snake, with no sense of family loyalty. She always had that high and mighty attitude, an absolute authority that could not be defied. As a child, I was terrified of her. But not anymore. I shot back without hesitation. A family with roots this rotten is just a plague on the world. What is there to be loyal to? Grandpa! Grandpa! My grandfather suddenly fainted from rage, throwing the room into chaos. My cousin immediately lifted him onto his back and rushed him out the door to the hospital, with the others scrambling to follow. My uncle gave me a look of pure hatred but said nothing as he left. I knew they could crush me if they wanted to, destroy my career, and force me to submit. But I was prepared. I never expected to walk away from this unscathed. A few days later, Jasmine Dalton died. She was stabbed by the father of the girl whose heart she had received. Ever since his daughter's death, the man had been living in a daze. He hadn't known the truth, but now he did. He got his revenge, and his conscience was finally clear. The hospital and doctors involved in that surgery were all put under investigation. No one would escape justice. To retaliate and ruin my name, my relatives used the media frenzy to spread all sorts of rumors, twisting the truth. They claimed my father and his lover were the true star-crossed lovers, torn apart by my mother's scheming. They also spread lies that I was a chip off the old block, that I too had used devious means to get ahead. They claimed that 7 years ago, to get Isabella, I had orchestrated the car accident that put her boyfriend in a coma, which was the only reason I got to marry her and become Mr. Dalton. When this fabricated story went viral and public opinion turned against me, Ethan, looking to deliver the final blow, used a friend's social media account to corroborate the lies. He claimed it was all true, that I had caused the crash, and that he was just lucky to have survived with a coma instead of dying. He even posted old photos from the accident and his hospital stay to make it look credible. This led to my personal information being doxed. A storm of online harassment followed, with vicious insults and curses flooding my social media and phone. It was vile. After letting the rumors ferment, I simply reported them to the police. Then I released all the dirt I had on them, including the time Ethan had drugged a wealthy socialite to sleep his way into her bed. As for Ethan, I was done holding back. I released the traffic cam footage from his accident years ago. The video clearly showed him in a heated argument with Isabella. It showed them fighting over the steering wheel, which caused the crash. Furthermore, other information revealed that the fight started because Isabella was trying to break up with him. It had nothing to do with me. I also leaked evidence of him knowingly being a homewrecker, having a child out of wedlock with his ex, and cheating on multiple partners. I wanted to make sure he could never recover, never strut around in front of me again. Go for the jugular. That's what they say. With my mother gone, I no longer cared about my marriage to Isabella or keeping up appearances. I had nothing left to lose. Unfortunately, Isabella was still backing him. To protect the Reed family's reputation and interests, the negative stories about him were quickly scrubbed from the internet. The posts didn't have a major impact or incite a mob, but they did ruin his reputation within our social circle, turning him into a joke. I expected as much. Isabella and the Reed family still cared about their image. That night, I was at a private club for a meeting when I happened to see Isabella and her best friend walking toward the balcony for some air. When I went over to speak with her, I overheard her friend ask teasingly, "Since you love Ethan so much, and you've accepted his kid, why don't you just divorce Leo and be with him officially?" Isabella's voice was as detached as ever. He's not husband material. He can't handle my family, and he can't give me the peace of mind I need at home. So that was her game. She wanted to have her cake and eat it too. The shamelessness was breathtaking. I don't think Leo Dalton is the type to just take this lying down forever. Aren't you afraid he'll turn the tables on you one day? Her friend asked. Even a saint has his limits. A little fighting is fine as long as he knows his place. He moved out of your marital home over a year ago. You call that a little fighting? He'll move back, Isabella said with an air of complete confidence. When he wants a child, I'll give him one. Ha ha ha. I guess you're just on another level. Her friend laughed. But I'm curious. Where did he get all that inside information? What does he actually do? Is he a private investigator or something? I don't know and I don't care. I just know he has a digital tech company. He was probably planning to take people down for a while, so he was already prepared. Isabella's voice sounded a little low, almost disappointed. In that case, he's actually pretty terrifying. Are you sure you can handle him? Isabella lit a cigarette and didn't reply. I had no interest in eavesdropping further or discussing my business. I turned to leave. But as I turned, I ran right into a familiar face, Ava Lynch. She was standing at the door of a private room, looking curiously in my direction. Ms. Lynch, long time no see, I said with a smile. Ava's face lit up in a dazzling smile. How about we have a drink? She invited with a raised eyebrow. Sure. There's actually something I wanted to talk to you about. Ava led the way to an empty private room. After ordering drinks, she smiled and asked, So, what's on your mind? Viridian Group stock has crashed. It's on the verge of being delisted, and several of its projects have stalled. I was hoping you might seize the opportunity to acquire the company, or at least become the majority shareholder. What do you think? I asked, my expression hopeful. Ava leaned back casually on the sofa. And after the acquisition, what are your plans then? I don't have any. I just need you to kick the Daltons off the board, especially my aunt and uncle. I don't want them using Viridian as their personal piggy bank anymore. A few of its upcoming projects are about to turn a profit, so you won't lose money on the deal. The problem is your grandfather, aunt, and uncle might not be willing to sell their shares. I have leverage on my aunt and uncle. I'll provide it to you. They'll sell. As for my grandfather, he's old. He'll weigh the pros and cons. I'm sure you can find a way to persuade him. All right. Ava agreed, a meaningful smile playing on her lips. Then she changed the subject abruptly. So, when are you planning to get divorced? You're not going to keep putting up with it, are you? I felt a bit awkward and gave a dry laugh. I want to get it done as soon as possible, but Isabella won't agree. It's a matter of pride for her, and the Reed family doesn't want the bad press. Do you need my help? Ava asked, her expression serious. I was confused. Help me? How? Isabella would rather be a widow than a divorcee. Well, then you'd just have to be the one who gets widowed, wouldn't you? She said with a casual smile, as if she were asking what I'd had for lunch. Her nonchalance sent a chill down my spine. I laughed awkwardly. Against her and the Reed family, my chances aren't great. It's best if she just agrees to the divorce. Just then, the waiter brought our drinks and a large fruit platter. With so much on my mind, my nerves were stretched thin. I started drinking with Ava. Before I knew it, I was tipsy. My thoughts grew fuzzy, and the grief over my mother's death washed over me. I found myself pouring out all my pain and hardship to Ava. My voice choked with emotion. After I had vented, I was ready to go home. Ava didn't try to stop me. She had just listened quietly. Now, she thoughtfully helped me home without saying much more. But as fate would have it, as Ava was helping me into my car, someone we knew spotted us. They took a misleadingly angled photo, partially censored it, and posted it online. The headline read, Viridian Group airs marriage on the rocks, suspected of cheating with mystery woman. Because it involved me, the center of the recent scandal, the post immediately gained traction. It also involved Isabella and the Reed family, so the video quickly went viral. When I woke up the next morning after sleeping off the alcohol, the story was still trending. Some of Ava's information had also been leaked, making it seem like there was some conspiracy afoot. My phone was flooded with missed calls and unread messages. There were missed calls from the Reed family estate, summoning me over. No doubt they wanted to lecture me and put me in my place. There were also missed calls and texts from Isabella, demanding to know what I meant by letting the video trend. What was I trying to pull now? Was I determined to create as much chaos as possible? I ignored it all. I simply grabbed the divorce papers I had prepared and went to find Isabella. Since it was the weekend, when I arrived at our marital home, not only was Isabella there, but so were Ethan and his son. As I stepped into the entryway, Cody, who was riding a small scooter, saw me and shouted, "The bad man is here." He abandoned his scooter and ran to Ethan, burying his face in his arms as if I were some kind of monster who had abused him. Isabella, sitting on the sofa, saw the whole thing but said nothing, just stared at me with a dark expression. I couldn't help but laugh mockingly. Is that kid really his? It's like his brain stopped developing. Didn't you say he was in a car crash? How come he's not dead or even injured? Mr. Dalton, I know you don't like Cody. You find him an eyesore and wish he would just disappear. But there's no need to be so cruel. He's just a child, he doesn't know any better. Ethan said in a passive-aggressive tone, playing the innocent victim to stir up trouble. I had the sudden urge to slap him. He doesn't know any better, but you do? A child's behavior reflects their parents' upbringing. If you don't know how to raise a kid, don't have one. Whose fault is it that he's such a brat? At that, Ethan's eyes welled up with tears as he played the victim. I know, I'm not as good as you in any way, not even. Here we go again, I cut him off. I'm not here to watch your performance. Can you shut up? I walked straight to Isabella, placing the divorce papers on the coffee table in front of her. Here's the divorce agreement. Please sign it. Isabella didn't take it. Her face was grim. Are you in such a hurry to divorce me because of Ava Lynch? What does that have to do with you? I shot back, looking down at her. I will never divorce you. Ha! I laughed, exasperated. They say a husband and wife are one, but some people don't deserve a partner. People like you don't deserve a husband. Tying a man to you with a marriage certificate when his heart is elsewhere is completely meaningless. Isabella's expression darkened. You're not me. How would you know if it's meaningless? My gaze shifted mockingly toward Ethan. In that case, let's both just throw away loyalty and all our principles. How about an open marriage? I'll go out and have kids with someone else. Can you accept that? Wouldn't you find it disgusting? Isabella's face flushed with anger. Besides divorce, what is it that you want? She asked through gritted teeth. Such a double standard. Rules for thee, but not for me, I said, dropping the divorce papers on the table. Fine. If you're not willing to negotiate, then I'll see you in court. Leo, my patience has a limit. Don't force my hand. You won't be able to handle the consequences. Isabella warned, her voice sharp and losing its composure. I was furious. My patience is also limited. Compared to me, you have far more to lose. At worst, we can just destroy each other. My eyes flickered to Ethan and his son. I'm not afraid. With that, I turned and headed for the stairs to pack up the rest of my things. Because we hadn't completely burned our bridges before, I had left some of my belongings behind to keep up appearances. Isabella, why won't you divorce him? Have you fallen in love with him? You told me you only loved me. Shouldn't you be responsible for me and our child, and give him a complete family? If you don't divorce him, I swear I'll take our son and kill myself, you'll see. Ethan's voice was choked with tears, his eyes red. He sounded so wronged, which in turn made the child start to cry. But Isabella was silent as a stone, ignoring him completely. When I reached the bedroom I used to live in on the second floor, everything was just as I had left it. There was no dust, the housekeeper had kept it clean. I rolled up my sleeves and started packing. Halfway through, Isabella appeared, leaning against the doorway of the walk-in closet. We need to talk, she said calmly. Her sudden appearance startled me. Talk about what? I asked, annoyed. What's left to talk about? For the first time ever, she offered an explanation. Ethan saved my life once. I was partially responsible for the car accident that put him in a coma years ago, so I have to make it up to him. That includes him wanting a child. I can send them away, make sure they never appear in front of you again. As long as you don't divorce me, you can name any condition you want. What do you say? So, the hard approach didn't work, and now she was trying the soft one? Did she really think I was some kind of fool, motivated only by profit and with limitless patience? Thank God I never expected to find true love in an arranged marriage, never hoped for some fairy tale romance with her. I had always aimed for mutual respect and peaceful coexistence. Otherwise, her emotional abuse would have driven me into depression long ago. I scoffed. They say you should cultivate yourself and manage your family. Looking at your actions, do you even consider yourself a decent person? Whether you're repaying a debt or carrying on a love affair, that's your choice. What does it have to do with me? Why do I have to be dragged into it? Why should I have to endure it and enable your selfishness? Isabella flared up. I said it won't happen again. Couldn't hold back anymore. Don't make me lose all respect for you. In your relationships, you start things you can't finish. As a mother, you're completely unreliable. Tell me, how do you have the audacity to refuse a divorce and still want to live a life with me? Isabella was speechless, her face crimson with shame. Before all this, all your affection went to Ethan. You defended him unconditionally. No matter how he framed me or targeted me, you cleaned up his messes. Even when he spread lies about me online to ruin my reputation, you protected him. And the moment I fought back, you turned on me. I was the one who suffered every injustice, my dignity trampled by both of you. And now you have the nerve to ask me to forget everything and live happily ever after with you? How shameless can you be? Do you think I'm some kind of saint? That I can just forgive anything? It was like she couldn't understand plain English. She persisted, I'll change. I'll make it up to you. What do you want? Company stock? How much do you want? This is like talking to a brick wall. There's no getting through to you. I will not end up like Ethan, tied to you in any way. Get out. Stop distracting me. Isabella's shame suddenly turned to rage. Who do you think you'll find that's better than me? She spat. You think Ava Lynch will marry you? Do you really think she's any better than I am? Get out. Are you deaf? I was packing my watches and, losing all patience, I threw the watch box straight at her face. Isabella caught it deftly, her expression complicated. She looked at me as if I were the one who had betrayed her, her eyes filled with a strange resentment. Finally, I ignored her and went back to packing. Realizing it was useless to say more, she wisely turned and left. A few hours later, I had moved out every single one of my belongings, leaving nothing behind, not even the flowers I had planted in the garden. It was as if I had never lived there at all. A week later, Ava completed the acquisition of the majority of shares in Viridian Group. Only the shares held by Frank Dalton remained. So, I went to visit him in jail, asking him to sign a share transfer agreement. Do you hate me that much? He asked, his voice lifeless, as soon as he saw me. I gave a cold laugh. Shouldn't I? You all ruined my mother's life, and you nearly ruined mine, as well as my brothers and sisters. Don't you think you deserve to pay for that? Frank was silent for a moment before sitting down across from me. I pushed the share transfer agreement toward him. Viridian Group has a new owner. It would be best for you to transfer your shares to me and my siblings. Otherwise, you'll regret it. Out of the loop, Frank looked stunned. How is that possible? What about your uncle? The fact is, it has a new owner. I'm not lying. Also, your precious daughter, Jasmine, is dead, stabbed by the father of the girl whose heart she took. And your dear siblings are also in jail for slander and defamation. The ugly things they did have all come to light. Their lives are about to get very difficult. I recounted these facts calmly, but Frank's eyes grew red and filled with tears. His lips trembled, unable to form a word. After a long silence, he finally said with a sigh of deep regret, I never knew you were a wolf. And your mother was the leash that held you back. You're insane. A wave of bitterness washed over me. Even as his children, our treatment was so different. Was this what they meant by a child's status being tied to their mother's? With a trembling hand, Frank pressed his thumbprint on the document. After confirming it was correct, I took the agreement and prepared to leave. I'm sorry. As I turned to go, Frank's choked apology stopped me. A mix of emotions swirled within me, but I just let out a cold chuckle. An apology won't reduce your sentence. You might as well save it. I didn't believe for a second that he thought he was wrong. A man like him would never admit fault even if he knew it. Afterward, I didn't sell the shares. I split them 3 ways between my siblings and myself. Ava had no objections. A month later, since Isabella still refused to sign the divorce papers, I sued for divorce. The court date came quickly. With clear facts and solid evidence, the judge granted the divorce on the spot. Even though Isabella still stubbornly refused, there was no need for mediation. After that, Ava moved in next door to me and started coming over for dinner often. Her intentions were obvious. She wanted to be my girlfriend. Sometimes, she would even piously light incense for my mother, asking for her blessing to become her daughter-in-law. It got to the point where my brother and sister started pleading her case, telling me to just agree to date her before she went completely crazy. Another month later, the verdict came in for my father's lover. For his involvement in multiple deaths and the severe impact of his crimes, he was sentenced to death with immediate execution and ordered to pay civil damages. Frank Dalton was sentenced to 20 years in prison, with 5 years deprivation of political rights for multiple offenses, and also ordered to pay compensation. With all the family matters finally settled, my mother could at last be laid to rest. My siblings and I chose an auspicious day and buried her peacefully, so she could finally be at peace with no more earthly ties. A year later, Ava and I got married. A year after that, Ava gave birth to a beautiful and adorable daughter, whom we named Lily. I ran into Isabella and Ethan again at the aquarium. Our daughter was just over a year old, and Ava and I had taken her for a day out. The chance encounter made the atmosphere instantly awkward. Long time no see. Have you been well? Isabella was the first to speak, her eyes on me. She seemed calm, but the blue light of the tanks and the schools of fish swimming behind the glass cast a strange, lifeless pallor on her face. Ethan held his son's hand and glared at me resentfully, as if I owed him millions. I had heard that he and Isabella never officially married. Shortly after our divorce, she lost her status as the Reed family heiress and spent over a year at a monastery before returning. She was now in the process of starting her own company, which was apparently already showing some success. We're doing well. And you? I replied politely. I'm fine too, Isabella said with a forced smile. Her gaze fell on my daughter. Is this your daughter? She's very beautiful and cute. Hearing her praise, Cody suddenly piped up, she's ugly. She's not pretty or cute at all. Holding my daughter in my arms, I couldn't stop myself from retorting, watch your mouth, kid, or it might just rot off. My daughter is the apple of my eye. If an adult had said that, my hand would have already met their face. Cody was instantly frightened and hid behind Ethan, not daring to say another rude word. I'm sorry, he's been spoiled, Isabella said, looking ashamed. He speaks without thinking. As the twig is bent, so grows the tree. Be careful, or the world will teach him a lesson the hard way. After that blunt statement, I motioned for Ava to leave with me, having no desire to chat with them any longer. Isabella watched us go, embarrassed and silent. Ethan, however, couldn't contain his anger. He jabbed Cody's forehead with his finger and hissed, "All you do is embarrass me. You've made me lose all face." Wah! Cody burst into tears, looking incredibly wronged. Isabella just snapped at him coldly. "Shut up. If you keep crying, we're going home." She made no effort to comfort him, showing no patience to gently correct his mistake. You can't grow roses in toxic soil. They're bound to wither sooner or later, Ava remarked as we walked away, her pace quickening. Let's go. Don't look back. It's bad luck. In some ways, she could be very petty. She couldn't stand it when I even mentioned Isabella's name. It would put her in a mood for half the day, and I'd have to carefully coax her out of it. "Daddy, big fish, big fish." My daughter suddenly squealed with delight, pointing at the mermaid show behind the glass. Then, As if correcting herself, she said, "Mermaid, mermaid. Yes, you're so smart, sweetie. It's a mermaid, but it's a person dressed as a mermaid, not a real one," I explained patiently, not caring if she understood. As expected, my daughter's face went blank with confusion. Ava teased her, "Lily, should we ask Daddy to become a mermaid?" Her eyes lit up. "Can he?" she asked in her tiny, curious voice. "No, people can't become mermaids," I said firmly. I held my daughter in one arm and wrapped the other around Ava's waist, pulling her close. "With this face and this body," I whispered flirtatiously, "are you sure you'd want to share me with the public?" Ava was momentarily speechless, then laughed. "You're so conceited." That only encouraged me. "I can make you so dizzy with love you don't know which way is up. What's wrong with being a little conceited? You're shameless." "Ha ha ha." I couldn't help but laugh, leaning in to kiss her cheek. "Tell me you love me, and I'll be even happier." Ava blushed and rolled her eyes, but didn't say it. I just smiled wider as if she already had. She's so easy to please, so full of energy. Give her a little affection, and she'll shine all day. Being with her is so easy and comfortable, there's no resentment or emotional turmoil. Most importantly, she has integrity and self-respect. There are no messy relationships or drama to worry about. She's just a genuinely good person. I have never regretted marrying her, and I have never regretted having a child with her. Everything happened at just the right time. It's more than enough. Extra Ava's perspective. The first time I ever felt my heart skip a beat was at Isabella Reed's wedding, the moment I saw the groom. His name was Leo Dalton. He was like a stalk of bamboo, tall and straight, but without arrogance. He was so reserved and self-restrained it made my heart ache. It made me want to steal him away. I just felt that Isabella didn't deserve him. Later, events proved that Isabella was truly no good, selfish, hypocritical, and greedy. She already had a lover, but she still wouldn't let Leo go. She humiliated him time and time again, stripping him of all his dignity. I had to restrain myself over and over from using my own means to make him a widower. Eventually, I couldn't stand it anymore. I decided to take him for myself. When his mother was murdered and he decided to get revenge on his family and seek a divorce, I helped him from the shadows. I not only helped him dismantle the Dalton family's power base so they couldn't protect his enemies, but I also helped him win the divorce case, ensuring that Isabella and the Reed family could no longer affect him. I spent over half a year scheming and chasing him before he finally let down his guard and agreed to date me. I spent another half a year using all my charm and seduction before I finally got him to marry me, to become the groom I had dreamed of. I know he's smart. He willingly fell into my traps and let me trick him into becoming my husband, into building a warm home with me. When I gave birth to our daughter, I felt the real weight and beauty of life and family, and my respect and appreciation for life grew even deeper. Every night when I close my eyes and every morning when I open them, his is the first face I see. It fills me with energy and a sense of completeness. This is how life should be. The person I love, and the person who loves me, deserve all the happiness in the world.